everybody. Thanks for tuning in to PVD Horror. Today we have actress, director, businesswoman extraordinaire, and one of my old school favorites, none other than Miss Pamela Sutch herself. Thank you so much for coming on.
Sure, great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I'm just going to jump right into it, if you don't mind, and I'm just going to ask you, what got you started in film?
Okay. Well, I grew up in Pennsylvania, and I wasn't in the arts as a child. I was more into sports. I was a swimmer and a springboard diver. And then after high school, I knew there was an artist inside of me the whole time. It just wasn't brought out. And then after high school, I was like, wow, what do I do with my life? I'm thinking maybe I'll be a lawyer. Okay, well, I didn't become a lawyer. And then I actually moved to New York, and I got addicted, completely fell in love with dancing. I mean, completely, like every day I just wanted to dance. And then after that, I kind of realized, well, to make a living as a dancer, I mean, there's not really that much out there. You have to be, except for maybe Broadway or traveling all over on these like weird low budget theater crew things. So I kind of just made a path on my own and started auditioning for different things and started picking up video cameras of my own, became a filmmaker, got little different things, acting and different little independent things, whatever, just side jobs. I used to be a shoe model regularly, and that kind of paid a chunk of my bills. So it evolved. My life just evolved. I found a path, I created it, and I made it work for me, so that I was mostly happy on a daily basis instead of being stuck in some kind of grind where I was like, every day I had to get up and go to work and do this. So I made it work.
I love that. So one of the questions I like to ask people who kind of stick with underground film, for example, like we had Debbie Rochon on, and she was actually the one who encouraged us to reach out to you. You know,
wow, wow, that's nice. She's so popular.
Shout out to her. I just happened to mention it, and she was like, "Hey, I know her. You guys should reach out." And we were like, "Really?" So.
Oh well, thank you, Debbie.
But
I just saw her little clip. She's in so much.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, she kind of made a conscious decision to stay in underground film and underground horror.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you kind of the same question I asked her. Do you feel like it was sort of intentional that you've stayed within sort of underground and indie filmmaking? Do you feel like you had opportunities and, you know, to kind of stray elsewhere and you kind of were like, no, I'm happy where I'm at? Or do you think that staying in this actually limits some of those opportunities for you?
I don't think it limited anything. I think that I didn't pursue the mainstream acting. And, you know, I would have had to move to LA if I really wanted to pursue it in that direction. So I really didn't. I mean, I live in New Jersey. I mean, how could I leave New Jersey? Really? I mean, I don't have to pump my gas. I'm not going to pump gas ever unless they change the law. I don't know if they change the law. I don't know what's going to happen. But so, no, I don't really think I just stayed in this genre because, as I said, I built my own path and I became my own creator. And then I worked on other productions. I worked in other things. I'm a photographer, so I work behind the scenes a lot. And I just made it work, and I'm level-headed. I kind of have it just, you know, nothing ever went crazy, but I always did what I love to do.
That's awesome. I love that you just said that about pumping gas, because I can like remember my first few experiences of driving in New Jersey, and like I get out of the car and someone's like coming towards me to pump my gas, and I'm like, no, I could do it. But you
and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't. And then if I have to, I'm like, oh man. And then something always goes wrong, and I'm trying to like play around with the thing, and I go in, can you reset this thing? I don't know what I did. And
That's how you tell people are from New Jersey when you see them. I've done some traveling, and every time you see somebody at the pump, like, what do I do? And I'm like, oh, you must be from New Jersey. Let me show you. It's nice though. I'll tell you, every time I drive through, I get yelled at if I get out of the car. We got this. We got this. Oh, okay.
Very courteous people in New Jersey, I have to say.
Take it. Take it.
So Pamela, I watched your film Tracker. Track. Sorry, Track. I don't know why I keep saying Tracker.
I hope you watched the right one.
Oh crap! No.
Sound flip.
Track, right?
Track. Sorry. Track. Super cool. You directed it. You wrote it. And you freaking star in it.
I ended up.
How many films have you done all those roles?
What do you mean?
How many films have you? Is that like? Do you have other films that you've done that many hats? You've worn that many hats?
That one's one of the larger productions that I've made through the years, and it's actually starting to catch on more now. It's getting more airplay, I think, because it's so independent. I mean, a lot of people aren't going to hear about it, and it's starting to get like more airplay. It's played around the country on a lot of cable stations that download it on the regular TV through after-hour cinema.
Okay.
And it is streamed on Tubi and a lot of other ones. It's starting to actually pick up momentum and doing better. I'm happy about it. But yes, I have other productions that I have done in the past, really long old ones and current ones. The most current one that I have going right now is Soul Traveler, and it's a web series. So parts 1 and part 2 is finished. I'm going to go into production for part 3. You can find my weird movies at sirentales.com, SIRENTALES.com.
Yes. So how difficult did you find it to balance when you're making a film and you're director, writer, starring? Was it difficult, or is it actually really
very
easy?
difficult?
It's very
everything. Difficult. As soon as if I'm acting in a production, I am like, oh, this is so nice. I can fix my hair and my makeup and do my lines and play around the whole time. As soon as I have to like wear all those different hats and pull it together like that, it's very, very difficult. And then you have to deal with a lot of people, and then you have to just constantly organize everything. And then you have all the equipment to deal with, the locations, actors. It's really never ending. I kind of like do it over a span of time if I can. I'll do shoots and then I'll like do more shoots like a little bit down the road for the same movie.
I won't like discuss that film too much because people should go watch it before they hear me spoil it. But your character Troy, the male in it who kind of couch surfs, I guess you would say, or relationship surfs. It's almost like he was the original Dirty John. If you ever heard that podcast about the doctor who kind of goes relationship to relationship, I was like, this guy is the luckiest dude. Everybody just falls for him and lets him live with him.
He's so cute. He was so cute. He was like so perfectly cute. Just so that the audience knows what the movie's about. It's about a woman that inserts a camera inside her cheating boyfriend's head. And then she watches his every move on the computer. So wherever he is, that camera's there. She's watching him. And then she finds out he's cheating and she kicks him out of the house. But he still has the camera in his head. So she's watching him as he continues his life. It's a comedy kind of, and horror comedy type mysteries.
Yes. Yep.
If my wife put a camera in my head, that would just be straight up horror. I don't think
that scene is one of my favorite scenes when we actually shot it and showed how it was a good scene.
Yes. Yep.
So I'm gonna kind of backpedal, like I'm an old school fan from way back, like probably like 96, I'll say. So I've kind of followed your career for a while.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, like it actually means a lot to me. Actually, Psycho Sisters was one of my first films that number one I mail ordered when I was like 16 or something, and I fell in love with it instantly. And you know, it's an honor to have you. I talk about the film so much, and so I just wanted to get your opinion on a few things here. Like you've done obviously a lot of full length features, even way back then, and continuing to this day, and you've also done a lot of shorts. So it's kind of a two-part question because some of the stuff from way back was with Wave, and some people have negative connotations with Wave because it kind of changed from regular film to like, I'll say different film. How about that? But there's also positive association with their older stuff. So there's kind of two questions rolled into one here, and I know I'm super confusing, but number one, do you prefer to work on shorts or full lengths?
I think I would prefer full length. I like something that's going to get out there in the world and that you're happy with, unless it really sucks, which, yeah, I mean, a lot of them do. But I think I prefer full length ones, but shorts are great if they're really, you know, if they're good and made well. But I prefer, if I'm going to put the work into something, it's the features are what's going to get out there and stay popular for. I mean, some of these movies, they don't go away. I mean, people follow them, they know them, and they're still there. And no, I did not think that when we were making all these movies way back then, that people would still be wanting to watch them and wanting to like have interviews and talk about them. I thought that they just wouldn't really exist, but still there.
Yeah, that was kind of my other question. Like, and that, so there was obviously a couple of gems there, and then there were a couple of films from that company that weren't. And I just wanted your honest opinion on it, looking back, how it was, you know?
I have one more thing. Gary, the head of Wave Productions, you would think that he was behind his time. Like you're here we are making these low budget independent movies, but we were like the first pioneer generation of everything that was going to happen. You know, like everybody is creating. So we were like the originals. And it's like you're thinking, he's like ahead of his time, not behind. And another thing that he did when we were making those, he made them, we were in the 90s, but he was making a lot of those look like we were in the 70s. And now time has passed. And when you watch them, they look like they're from the 70s because they were shot, you know, so more low budget, VHS, they were out. And you think you're watching something from the 70s, which was like another kind of it makes them, you know, the older they get, the more intrigued you are to even watch any of these. They become like more popular, and I start to like them. I'm like, oh, I like Rana now. I was like, I don't want anybody to ever see this movie on the face of the earth ever. And now I'm like, oh, hey, I like it. Look at my long hair.
Well, it's also got to be different because you put like a lot of heart and soul into what you do. So looking back, you know, like I don't like listening to my own podcast, but when I listen to the first episode, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Like I actually got to do this, you know, and yeah, so I kind of get it, you know. Which brings me to my favorite film, which was Psycho Sisters. And like you said, it was actually really revolutionary for the time. It was the first time I had ever seen serial killers that were female. And there were two of them, which made it even more interesting.
Wait a minute. I'm watching female serial killers every night on Lifetime movies.
we didn't have so where I grew up, we didn't have cable back then, and Lifetime wasn't even a thing. So we were pretty hard up for entertainment, which is why we did mail order. So, and there's the other thing, it was like the first mail order movie that you could really get. And I remember running into different people every time I would travel outside of Rhode Island for years, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, it was like the first movie I could get." So
Yeah, I'm still in amazement, especially over the Psycho Sisters.
I gotta say, it was pretty revolutionary for the time. Like for me, it was, and for a lot of other people that I had hung around with, that I showed it to. And that was when the mom and pop stores were in, and you could get like, some had the good horror stuff that no one else had.
Yeah, those mom and pop stores were great.
And we actually got it in a couple of mom and pop stores here. Like we told them to order it, and some of them did. So kudos to them. Shout out to Uptown Video, who was out of business for 30 years now.
They've been cursing Josh since the day they closed, that he made them order that film, and they went out of business immediately after.
Yeah, so
That's why.
So from your perspective, like how was it to be involved in a film that was not only the first mail order, but also one of the first, like, I don't want to say mainstream, but one of the first like female serial killer movies?
I don't know. I didn't know that it was the first when we were making it. I mean, there's just so many movies, especially 70s movies. So I probably not real educated on how many women serial killers there were. But I mean, there's a lot of funny stuff in that movie. So it's the characters are funny. So, you lighten it up. It's not like real serious. It's,
So just a little backstory on PVD horror history. We've been doing this podcast since 2020, right, Josh? Like I forget what month.
Right around the
yeah, right around when COVID started. Josh has probably mentioned Psycho Sisters every single episode we've done, and we've done quite a bit since then. It's literally been weekly since 2020, and Josh literally mentions that film almost every time we have like a non-interview conversation, and sometimes in interviews when people ask him what his favorite film is. I am not even lying. He literally, and he made me watch it, so I am also versed on Psycho Sisters. And it's kind of like our running joke. Like anytime we are asked what our favorite,
he made you watch it.
Yes, because no. I begged him. I said, Josh, I have to see this film that you've been speaking so highly of. And now I'm like, cool. Like I get it. I know Josh's taste in films. I know exactly why he likes it. It's everything that he finds endearing about underground horror. So that's a little background on Psycho Sisters and the meaning of it for PVD Horror and Josh, especially. So having you here is like so full circle for us. It's insane, actually. And you probably have no idea.
Do you have Tina here yet?
Not yet.
No.
No,
she's in the Silent Night, Bloody Night movie. Also, that
yes,
we just shot.
Yes. So I think that needs to happen too. But yeah, this is pretty cool. And I have to ask you, when you read the script and the plot line, like what was your initial reaction to it? Because like one of the things I did find like about it, it's like an interesting take on that whole rape revenge subgenre, which we've seen like I Spit on Your Grave and Last House on the Left. Because you and your sister, who are doing this to the gentlemen that are passing by your window that you're getting all angry at. You weren't the ones who were actually assaulted. It was actually your other sister who was assaulted. And then you two are just these vengeful women on a rampage. There's not too many stories that I can think of where it's like secondary trauma. It's not the person that was assaulted that's going and it's usually like the person that was assaulted and then they go on the rampage.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting take if you think about it from that lens. But what was your initial reactions when you read the script and the plot?
Was there was a script? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Yes, there was a script. The first thing I do when I read a script is I imagine myself doing it to see if I can connect to the character that's written, to see if I can do something with what I have to feel comfortable with it. And right away, I know that I saw the contrast where I can be a psycho and then I can be the real sweet, innocent character. And as soon as I can turn from one to the other, like, oh, okay, and then be psycho after that.
Yeah.
I just love character acting, crazy characters, and to see what I can do with them. So I like that. I rather play a psycho than a normal person. In fact, I just in Silent Night, Bloody Night, I'm a mental patient, and I had the option: do you want to be the doctor or a mental patient? And I was like, I want to be the mental patient.
Yeah, for sure. That's not even a question.
Yeah.
Did you like
With Lloyd Kaufman? Go ahead.
Did you like Psycho Sisters after you filmed it and you watched it initially? Were you like, oh, that I'm no.
I was like, oh my God, did I do that? No. If I watch it now, there might be a couple scenes where because it's so old and I'm much younger, I think there might be some scenes where I see myself, completely different than I have seen it from back then. And I'll be like, oh, wow, I like myself there because I'm just so much younger, a different person.
Yeah.
Is there any good behind the scenes stories for that film?
I think for every film involving Wave or any of those back then films where it was Tina Kraus and myself and some of the other girls involved, we did a lot of laughing. Like we would just laugh after because we would come up with these things on the spot because they weren't real tightly scripted. So we ended up improvising. So you didn't know what the other person was going to do. And then we would do things and then it would be like, okay, cut the scene. And we would just end up laughing.
Was it empowering being like, the role that you got to play and being kind of like a lot of older like 80s and 90s horror films, the women are always the victims or they're the final girl, but you guys are actually like the perpetrators. Was that kind of empowering?
Number of them that, and same with Rana, so we no victim there, and same with the female mercenaries one. That one's good. That one I actually like myself in that one.
That must have been empowering.
All of those we're the empowered, we're the ones that are in control. So I rather play that. That's fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did not think you would bring that up. I haven't seen that film in like 20 years or something. That's
the female mercenaries.
Yeah. So a friend of ours, me and my brother used to go out and get tape trade and get all kinds of stuff. And one of our buddies got that tape. And we, once a guy got a tape back in the day, you went to his house and it was like, who's got the new VHS? And that was the thing to do. So I haven't seen that. Oh, God, I can't even remember. So thanks for bringing it up. I'm going to have to look it up now.
It was done about the same time frame as Rana and.
Yeah.
Is it weird to you that these films are still being brought up to this day?
It's very weird. Yeah, I said it was. Here I am talking about them again. Like, why? Yeah, it's very weird. But as I said, it was. I mean, it is entertainment. It's like you want to dig up this old stuff. Like I'm also a host on After Hours Cinema. So I have a part that is called Lessons Learned, and they watch those old classic horror movies. A lot of them were really popular, and we do like a little hosting spot where we kind of tear it apart and make fun of it and say, what lesson did we learn from this, film? And when I'm watching all these, because I have to pick them apart and, be able to say something intelligent about them. And I love watching them because they're so old. And it's like, oh, wow, like look what they made and how it looks and everything about it. It's just nostalgia.
That After Hours show that you co-host, who do you co-host it with and where can people see that?
It's After Hour Cinema. They're located in Mississippi, and it's WGUD television. So it's a cable, and then they simulcast, and then other cable stations will air it around the country. Look it up. You'll find it.
Yeah.
Cinema.
I'm going to, definitely. Thank you.
Very cool. And who do you co-host with? I saw it earlier and I can't remember.
Monica Hayes.
Monica Hayes.
She's one of my actresses that I used for a number of my productions throughout the years with Siren Tales, and she's done like a number of other things as well.
Awesome. So on your social media, I saw you post some pictures of Silent Night, Bloody Night 3, which you've mentioned a couple of times. And you're in there there's one photo with you with Lloyd Kaufman, who's also a friend of the podcast. He's such a great guy. And then you had mentioned it's I forget who the writer is, but you also did some work with them on Camp Murder. So I was just, we're really excited about this film, and I just want to know what you can tell us about Silent Night, Bloody Night 3, and also what it's been like to work with, the crew from Camp Murder and Lloyd himself, the little comedian that he is.
Well, it's in the post-production phase right now, so I can't really say that much, especially you don't know how it's going to be edited as well. So it was, any production, you're trying to pull it together, get all the, everything. The script was maybe rewritten a little bit, so I don't know how it's going to actually come out. But Lloyd was really nice, really funny, and I have a scene with him that will probably be funny and surprising.
Oh,
I don't want to bring it up.
I can only imagine.
Considering some of the scenes we've seen in his newer films, I am really intrigued. So I mentioned Camp Murder, which is also currently streaming on Tubi, if anybody wants to check that out. But that's kind of a fun film. And you have a really funny line where you're like, you guys are at a bar, and you're like, everybody just chill out and let's get fucked up or something like that. And it just, I just love that.
When I first read the script for that one, and there was a script, they were like, oh, you want to play this part, Tina? And I read it, and I'm thinking to myself, I can't play that part. I'm too old for this part. I'm like, I cannot play it. And then somehow it just went around in a circle. I thought maybe I could do the other part where I was the newscaster. And then somehow it just came back. And then I thought, I kept thinking, how can I play this? Can I do this? How am I going to, and then I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I actually like it.
Yeah. It was a fun watch. I will be honest. Like I watched that the whole way through, and I was like, totally, I was in it. So I definitely can say that, I think people would enjoy that if they get the kind of films we're talking about. They're going to enjoy it because
if they like this,
it's fun,
indie horror.
Exactly. But that was a Mark Polonia film, I believe. Was that correct?
And Will.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love Mark Polonia. Is he like a really nice guy in real life? He seems like he would just be like a super down to earth nice guy,
Yeah, he was nice. I don't know him that well. It was just shooting with him. So personally, I don't really know him because I know Will a lot better. But yeah, nobody got mad.
That's awesome.
It's a great sign.
Yeah.
It was a nice shoot. That was a nice shoot. Very organized. We stayed at nice places. We had nice locations. It was like a really fun shoot.
Oh, I did want to ask you that. Where was that filmed?
It was in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
There's some small town.
Yeah, it was nice little grounds that you guys had to film at. So I was curious.
Yeah, the barn and different locations worked out great.
Nice.
That's awesome. I'm going to switch it up a little bit and go to your newer stuff. I got to see some of your newer stuff, and there's a lot of, well, it's funny. Something happened on my computer. I tried to order it a while ago, and I had some issues where it kept throwing me out for some reason. And like 2 days ago, I logged onto the same Siren thing, and it had a perfect logout, and I was like, what? And it was my computer. There's some kind of glitch on my computer where if I go to log something, it throws me to something else. And
that is that still doing that?
That was
Yeah,
actually my computer that did that, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me why. And I thought it was your website until it happened again with something else that I was trying to buy. And now my laptop's down. Apparently,
like a virus that's taking.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah. So it actually wasn't you at all.
No, I
but
hope
I was
not.
trying to find as much of your new stuff as possible because I hadn't seen it. And
I mean, what I create is going to be different than a lot of stuff I'm in.
Absolutely.
That's, you know what? That's awesome though. Like when you like grow and evolve and you do different things, I feel like you just get better as a person. So I'm really excited to see it. And the stuff I did see, there was a lot of like transformation stuff. And I was like, is this like is that like a personal thing? Is there a personal meaning behind?
Now wait, there's a siren.
Uh-oh.
A siren.
Getting kind of close.
I just want to say it wasn't me.
It's not completely personal. I actually have a niche following. So well, you know, we know the whole story of you make a movie and then you give it to a distributor and who knows what's going to happen. But I have a niche following where people will come to my website and buy my movies and download them. So that's why I made a number of those, because people like them, a lot of those. And then the newest one that I have still has kind of like a transformation theme where you're like moving out of its Soul Traveler. So it's where it's kind of horror-ish and it's darker than some of the stuff I made. It's not as funny, just dark humor, where there's a curse and you're in a body and your body's cursed, but you have to get out of this body because you only have 6 weeks to live. And to get out of the body, you have to jump into another person's body. But to get into the other person's body, you have to kill them. And you only have 6 weeks. So you're in this body for 6 weeks and you got to get out because you're cursed, and you got to find somebody, kill them, and get into their body to be able to live on. And if you don't, you're going to go to hell. Or, well, there's rules to it. So you'd have to see all the different rules on, you know, whether you can go to hell or whether you can go to normal eternity, you know, that type of thing. But that's basically what it's about.
Cool.
So part 1 and part 2 finished. And I am writing part 3.
That's awesome. And once again, where can people get that?
SirenTales.com. SirenTales.com.
And there is the link for it right on your Instagram page if people decide to follow you on Instagram.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I could use more Instagram followers as well. Follow me, everyone. I need more.
I like on your Instagram how we get to see like different sides of you. You're not just all about, you know, the filmmaking. You also seem like you're kind of into, I don't know if meditation would be the best way to put it, but just
I'm into, well, as I said before, I grew up in sports and dancing, so I never left any of that behind. So I do a lot of yoga and dancing still, and martial arts. I have a lot of that behind me. So this is like the passions that I have that keep me going, keep me from, you know, keep me young. I mean, IMDb does not hide my age. I'm not happy about it, but but for me to have passion is like, that lets me, you know, live on and feel good every day.
Well, you're ageless in our eyes because we just constantly talk about Psycho Sisters all the time, and
yeah, you remember, that's all you remember.
Time capsule right there.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm 42. I got married and had kids. You know, I've been married for a long time, and I never even left my kids. And this past year, I've worked on, 3 films.
Wow.
and like purely coincidental and accidental. I interviewed somebody. They said come on down, and then I went, and it was Curse of the Weird Ear. I ended up working with. We interviewed Lloyd from that, and then we did Q&A with Lloyd, and we hung out a couple of times. Like, you know, I don't think age really matters. You know, you just go and you do what you do.
No, it doesn't. No, it definitely doesn't when you're working, because there's always you can't. There's no age on creating.
Yeah. The only time I feel old is when I'm in the gym next to a 20-year-old. That's the only time.
You don't look old at all.
Yeah, I'm not 20 anymore, and I definitely can't lift like I'm 20, so it's all good. So you have an Instagram. Is there any other social media or any other ways that people can find you and follow you?
You can follow me on Facebook. I'm actually more active on Facebook. So I have, I guess, more than 3,000 followers on Facebook. You have Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
And YouTube, right?
And oh yeah, my YouTube is the most popular of all. Forgot. My trailers to Siren Tales movies actually get a lot of views.
Cool.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, a lot.
Excellent.
Even when I first released them, there's like a lot of views, a whole lot. So that's probably the best one. Not a whole lot for me. For me in my little world.
So we got people need to check out sirentales.com. They need to look out for all the projects that you're working on there. We have Silent Night, Bloody Night 3 coming out. It's in post-production, so that's something else we can look forward to. Is there anything else that we need to keep our eyes peeled for?
Not at the particular moment that I can think of. Just if you do find Tracked, that'd be great. Find Tracked somewhere. It's on a lot of streaming platforms. And if you check out my website, sirentales.com, definitely Soul Traveler is my newest production, and I'm happy with that. So
okay. All right, Pamela, if you ever decide to take the trek up to Rhode Island to do a screening of Psycho Sisters at a local theater up here, just let us know. We'll set it all up. We'll set it all up for you, okay?
I don't know about that. If you guys ever are in production for some kind of really cool movie and you have a part for me, let me know.
Okay. And vice versa. Vice versa as well.
Okay.
I want to be the lead romantic interest, okay?
Okay.
I love
Josh,
it.
take us home, buddy.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I
Thanks
greatly
for having me.
appreciate
It was
it.
fun.
Like,
Thank you.
thank you for being like open and honest about all your work, and thank you so much for bringing all your new stuff to light, which I can apparently actually purchase now, so that's nice. And I can't thank you enough for everything. So I appreciate it greatly. Thank you everybody for listening. Make sure you follow everybody and do all the good stuff and share all the good stuff. And thank you guys. Have a good day.